One of the core elements of the Getting Things Done productivity system is the weekly review. That is, setting aside time once a week to review your projects and anything pending. But what if you don't have enough time on your schedule to actually get your work done? I'm Dave Edwards. One of my viewers wondered about budgeting your time. So I asked David Allen, the author of Getting Things Done, about how far we should go to set aside work time. So I have one more question here. This person says, what does David think about planning your week? Several productivity authors state that one should plan out your week. I do a thorough weekly review, but that's not planning out your week. I may realize that I need to block some time to finish that important manuscript that's due at the end of the week, but that's about it. What about your week in blocks?
That's about it for me too. I just look at any hard deadlines that are coming up, and therefore, do I need to then carve? They call that time blocking. Do I need to carve a couple of hours on Thursday to have time to actually sit down and do that thing that's due on Friday? If it's not done already. And so, yeah, I understand that. But are you planning your next hour after you get off with me? Are you planning the next day after you get off with me? Are you planning the next week? Are you getting off with me? Fine. Hey, if that gets your week off your mind, then that's what you should do, right? Just do what you need to do to get clear. And if what you need to do is to lay that out, but you just need to be willing to unhook it and blow it all up, when the next surprise shows up, that's going to recalibrate all that and not feel bad about it. That's why, a lot of really, I don't know a lot, but I've certainly met several, serious GTDers that really have implemented this really well. And what they do the night before is they kind of scan through all their lists and then just take a 3x5 card and make a list of, here's what I'm doing tomorrow. All that. Right. So they don't have to then review into their list anymore. They just have the 3x5 card. Right. And that's fine.
I do that religiously, my friend.
They're just willing. Are you willing to tear that up when better things show up?
And you just have to. But I had a client once who took it to the extreme where the night before she would look at her next action list and she would block out 9 to 10 a.m. work on this, 10 to 11 a.m. work on this. But then she'd get horribly frustrated when the phone would ring and she wasn't doing that, and she was continually moving tasks to the next day.
Not smart.
Yeah. Because you can overschedule your calendar. And this goes back to your principles of what is a calendar for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took me, I didn't wake up one morning with all this. Somebody asked me about this, and I didn't wake up. I was just writing. I was sort of repurposing an essay I wrote years ago. I just put it on video about mental ecology. People look at my system, they look at my list, they say, God, that's so much work. Gee, don't you have better things to think about? And none of that. If you just sat down one time arbitrarily and just set all your systems up and all your lists, that's probably more than you need to think about. That's a lot. But these took years. It took me, I don't know how long for me to realize the calendar was not to hold things other than what I had to do that day or what I had to know about that day. Mm-hmm. Right? Because I didn't want to have to rethink what was on my calendar based upon what would die if I didn't do it and what was optional. So mental ecology says, how much thinking can I not have to do? And that's how I came up with GTD. How much thinking do I not have to do? So that's mental ecology. As a good friend of mine, Frode Odegaard, who was a real expert in the lean methodology technology in the early years, he said, David, well, GTD is just lean for the brain, no waste. Why have to rethink something if you don't need to? And the only reason to rethink it is because there's different things that are meant usually at what you're looking at. David Allen is the author of Getting Things Done. I discuss productivity with David on a regular basis. If you don't want to miss any segments, please subscribe below. And if you have questions for David, post them below or email me at daveedwards@outlook.com.